Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the Perry County Board of Elections hears complaints from 2 poll workers who said they were concerned about one precinct in November. And former President Donald Trump is not the only one facing criticism for having classified documents. A batch of classified documents were found in an office used by President Joe Biden before he became president-elect.
And it's all quiet now, but we're gearing up for another big-time system later this week. The details next as Mountain News at 5:30 starts right now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The Perry County Board of Elections met this morning to hear concerns from 2 poll workers. As WYMT's Dakota Makris reports, the workers are concerned about a polling place's lack of basic needs and election security.
Perry County election workers Jenny Williams and Nancy Collins worked at the old Chavies Elementary School on Election Day in November.
That's KRS 170.
They say the building did not have heat, enough voting spaces, or an indoor restroom. Williams says she believes the building was unsuitable to use as a polling place.
The bridge was washed out when I went there at 5 o'clock that morning. I hadn't been out to Chavies for a while, and I didn't know the bridge was out. And I turned, and thank goodness there were some pylons there to stop me from driving into the creek, but it took me a while to find the gravel road, to even find the building.
Gospel Light Baptist Church owns the building and property. Pastor and State Representative Chris Fugit told me in a statement the building does have heat and the church has a porta potty outside because the flood washed away the church's bridge and plumbing. The bridge has since been replaced. Another issue they tell me is the building did not have adequate security to keep ballots safe. They say one solution was to have Fugit come to lock the building, but they felt that put him in an awkward situation since his name was on the ballots.
We stayed there until the clerk's office found a way to find a moving truck and come and actually move the machines here to the courthouse where they could be put under lock and key.
Perry County Clerk Wayne Napier says 804 people voted at the super precinct. In regards to security, he says the building has security cameras and a retired state trooper was there around the clock.
I take the machines out myself. I don't have anyone hired. Well, I got somebody hired to go with me, but I take them out myself and make sure everything's right. I actually called State Board of Elections this morning, and they told me the way we worked it was fine. There wasn't a problem because we had the cameras and we had the security guard.
Napier tells me the board will listen to the concerns raised to make improvements. In Perry County, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News.
State Representative Chris Fugit tells us he does not personally own the building and he hopes the sewer system will be fixed soon.
A quiet day today, plenty of sunshine as a matter of fact. However, I think clouds are in our future and showers and even some thunderstorms also in the future. A look outside at the moment from downtown Hazard. It's on quiet. 52 is the current reading. We're in pretty good shape out there right now. Some digging being done there in front of the pavilion there downtown. UVA-wise, 39 degrees there. A little chilly out there in Southwest Virginia. Nice sunset in progress. Low to mid-50s as we head through much of the region at the moment. And we'll continue to see those temperatures dip once the sun goes down over the next 30 minutes or so. Few clouds into portions of the Big Sandy, but that has been the extent of the cloud cover for much of the day. Timing it out with that First Alert weather app. Keep it handy. You never know when you might need it, and I think we'll need it later this week. You see us falling through the 40s, heading through tonight. Eventually, I think some of us are in the upper 30s with clouds on the increase. Details, though, in a few minutes on when we see the potential for storms, and then the potential for even a little bit of snow on the way. Steve?
Evan, thank you. The Justice Department is overseeing a review of a batch of documents marked classified that were found in an office space that President Biden used before he was elected president. The story was first reported last night by CBS News. A source tells CBS News the documents did not contain nuclear secrets, but their exact nature and classification level are unclear. CBS's Deborah Alfarone reports from Capitol Hill, where Republican lawmakers are demanding answers.
During the North American Leaders Summit Tuesday, President Biden did not respond to questions about documents marked classified that were found in an office he used before he was president. The roughly 10 documents were discovered early November while the president's personal lawyers were packing up the office. The White House counsel's office says it immediately reported the documents to the National Archives, which took possession of them the following day. It happened about 3 months after the FBI executed a search warrant at former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home for classified documents. He had refused to comply with repeated requests to return the material.
I wonder why the press isn't asking the same questions of him as vice president taking classified documents that they were asking President Trump.
Republicans are questioning why the discovery of the Biden documents wasn't made public before the midterms. And now that they control the House of Representatives, they are vowing to investigate.
We have a lot of questions for National Archives. They fall under the jurisdiction of the Oversight Committee.
Attorney General Merrick Garland has assigned a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in Chicago, John Lausch, to review the Biden documents. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
A source familiar with the review tells CBS News the documents are currently located in a secured government facility. Once the Attorney General reviews the inquiry, he will decide whether there should be a criminal investigation by the FBI or even a special counsel. Under Elon Musk's leadership, Twitter has now restored the accounts of 2 prominent election deniers who were banned following the January 6th U.S. Capitol attack. Stop the Steal organizer Ali Alexander's account was restored on Monday. Alexander told the January 6th Congressional Select Committee Twitter was the main platform he used to promote events in the lead-up to January 6th. Twitter also restored conspiracy theorist Ron Watkins' account. Watkins promoted conspiracy theories about voting machines and the 2020 election. The Department of Education is proposing lower student loan payments for millions of people. It's part of the Biden administration's plan to change the existing income-driven repayment program. The proposed rule could reduce payments to 40 cents per dollar, saving borrowers some $1,000 per year. It would also pause payments for anyone making less than $30,600 a year. In addition, there would be no longer a charge for unpaid monthly interest. Smaller loans would be forgiven after 10 years of payment. The Biden administration is now seeking feedback from the public. A final rule could be released later this year. Federal officials say they are acting on thousands of complaints related to Southwest Airlines' holiday travel meltdown. That includes complaints the airline is not making good on its pledge to issue refunds. The Department of Transportation has sent every complaint directly to Southwest, and the agency is giving the airline 60 days to respond. Southwest said it canceled more than 16,000 flights between December 21st and December 31st. The airline has to honor passenger refund requests within 7 business days if the traveler paid by card and 20 days if they paid by cash or check. That's for flights that were canceled or significantly delayed. Now that a new Congress has been sworn in, the focus on Capitol Hill is shifting back to New York Congressman George Santos. The Republican lawmaker has admitted making up much of his resume before he was elected to his first term in November. Now a formal complaint filed with the Federal Election Commission accuses him of campaign finance violations. CBS's Scott McFarland has more.
Beginning his 3rd full day as a congressman, George Santos is facing a lot of questions, but he's giving no answers.
Mr. Santos, there's some campaign finance concerns and questions about your finances. Can you answer the campaign finance concerns?
Personal space, please. A little personal space.
Why don't you answer our questions?
Congressman, you seem to be dodging questions about your finances.
Santos has already been accused of lying about key parts of his life story, including his education, work history, and claiming his grandparents survived the Holocaust, is now the subject of a formal civil complaint to the Federal Election Commission. A nonpartisan D.C. watchdog group, the Campaign Legal Center, filed the complaint, questioning how Santos made a $700,000 contribution to his campaign, considering he previously reported earning about $50,000 a year.
Your complaint is something pretty bold. That there's a possibility there was a foreign actor that was funding this campaign?
I think it's always a possibility when someone appears to be going to great lengths to mask the true sources of their campaign's funds. That possibility is doubly the case here because, as we know, Mr. Santos is wanted by Brazilian authorities, so he has some connection overseas.
Meanwhile, Santos was one of the needed yes votes in the U.S. House last night to approve new rules to govern the House, now under Republican control.
This vote, the yeas are 220, the nays are 213. The resolution is agreed to.
Another narrow margin victory for new House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on his first order of business as Speaker.
The House will be in order.
Scott McFarland reporting. Now, the new rules approved last night give members of the Conservative Freedom Caucus more power on key committees and could even make it easier to eventually oust Speaker McCarthy. Regarding the criminal charges Congressman Santos could face in Brazil, they date back to a 2008 alleged incident of check fraud. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, want to reboot your budget for the new year? Expert advice on mapping out your financial plan.
Plus, we've got some changes ahead as we head later on into this week. That breakdown coming up after this.